morning flight. We're heading to Nashville.
In an evacuation situation, please all carry on. To fasten your seatbelt, place the flat end to the buckle.
Landed in Nashville. Gonna go find some dinner. Tomorrow's a big work day, so gonna take it nice and easy tonight. Not get into trouble. All right, so we just woke up at our beautiful hotel. We've got a long day ahead of us, and we're kind of trying to keep it down to one mission, which is getting about 10 delicate, very expensive vintage guitars back to Seattle from Nashville. These guitars are coming from a really good friend of mine, John Osborne, arguably my favorite guitarist on the planet. John's got such great guitars, a lot of which I've sold him as investments, as stuff he plays on the road. The Burst was just featured in Vintage Guitar magazine cover. We're gonna go try to find one while we're here. So John bought this awesome studio next door, and you know, for musicians who aren't playing the stock market, sometimes you move guitars around. This is a great example. He's had these guitars that have been going up in value. He's got a lot of road use out of them, magazine features. It's kind of a perfect story. Now he's gonna turn it into something else that'll hopefully be another great investment. So we're really stoked to be here. Let's get it going. All right, we just got to John's house. I think he's out of the studio, so he's about a minute behind us, but yeah, time to dig through some old lumber.
I was using the studio. I got here and I was like, why is this case so late? I was like, oh, it's in the studio.
Hold on, that is insane. I love you, dude.
How are you, buddy? Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. I'm
looks
good.
good
How
on
are
you.
you?
All right, we're in the John Osborne compound and gonna dig through some cool guitars. We were just kind of reminiscing on some I've seen before, some I've only texted you about. I'm excited to kind of pop the case for the first time, but
It's
yeah.
a day of guitars and babies, as you can hear in the background.
So, twins, 10 months old. My daughter just turned 6 months. We just geeked out on a whole different category of gear for about an hour. We should have filmed that. Maybe that may have more traction on YouTube channel. But yeah, so we just transitioned from baby gear. Now we're getting into some boys and toys and go through these old guitars. Let's get to it.
I'm not selling anything because I want to, really. I'm taking all of this and I'm putting it into a studio because the kind of next phase of my life, I mean, I'm touring. I'll be touring probably until I drop dead. But is to spend a lot more time in the studio. I absolutely love it. A lot of like new stuff and vintage gear as well. In a perfect world, I would keep all of these, but I'm just moving from one addiction really to the other. That's what we're doing. The entirety of Younger Me I did in that room.
Really?
Besides drums, I had a drummer do it, but I just sat there and I played everything and just guitars and bass and acoustics and synths and stuff. And but I just wanted a spot, you know, that I could call my own. So that's when I just decided I had to make a hard
especially
decision.
with kids, like something separate and a little bit removed.
Yeah.
It's like just to even like change your mindset,
Exactly.
I'm sure.
Like, I love my kids, but they're not great at tuning guitars yet. The second I learn how to tune a guitar, it's like I'm putting your ass to work. I mean, I worked for my dad when I was doing plumbing when I was like 12. They could tune a damn guitar. So anyway, so this is the motivation behind it. You know, it's still music related. It's something. It's the only thing I know how to do. Really, I'm screwed if I'm not doing music. And so I'm just taking all of this, and I'm just kind of, you know, putting my money where my mouth is. I'm trying to just focus a lot more on production, recording in the studio. I'm taking all of this and putting it there. In fact, we'll take you over there in a bit.
Awesome.
Yeah. This is 65 Strat. I still have that 63 Strat that I bought from you forever ago.
Yeah, with like a
and I'm not selling that one.
cool.
I love that guitar so much.
It's like a partial or a factory.
It's a
refin or
factory
something.
refin. It's amazing. Like I've played that on tons of stuff on our albums, and but this is just, you know, just like traveling the country buying stuff.
Yeah. Cool,
you know?
transition, 65. It's really light too for a...
It is light, and also I thought, you know, which is really interesting because I have that 63, and you know they're well defined here in the headstock, especially right down here. But when you start getting this, like right before the big headstocks, they get chunkier down here.
I think 65s are in their own kind of spot with Strats. I think they do. Like, they don't do the 50s to the best extent, but they kind of do everything pretty damn good.
Oh,
Take a whiff of
man,
that.
I wish they just made like a car scent of the old
yeah.
guitar smell.
Fender and Gibson have two different
Smells.
scents. Yeah, exactly.
So weird. Psychos.
Very cool. So this
Yeah.
is an easy one. You want to take this?
I don't know. That came with it.
Cool. We'll keep it in there.
So I think there's like maybe some knobs and stuff. I don't know. This all came with it, so we'll just leave
Sweet.
it. Yeah.
This is one he's not letting go. Really badass Tele. I think he's making the right choice. You can keep in the living room and.
That is, I mean, that one is, it's just a lifelong ambition to have a Blackguard, and I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of it. It'll be, that little boy's over there, I'll probably hand it down to him.
Next one, since we're sticking to this Fender deal. Oh, I know this one. Slab
know
board.
that one.
This is honestly, I have a guy I'm going to show this when I get back in Seattle. Slab board, blonde Tele, one of the, I mean, totally in their own world, flawless in their own perfection. It's not the maple board Tele, it's, you know, those first years of the rosewood that kind of compresses.
Nothing is clean,
dude, it's so clean.
It's
I mean,
clean.
This was one, John was like, I want to find something I can play, but it's also going to be like a really great investment. This lasted.
I never took that on the road. I only played that here in the studio.
Perfect. I mean, really
Nothing.
good weight, just a tiny bit of wear so you know it's real.
So it's been played.
100% original. Awesome.
Oh yeah, and I also love these cases too.
I know.
Classic.
Yep.
So this guitar I played on that live from the Ryman. I think it's on the cover, it might be, or somewhere. It's in a lot of photos. But I played this all over that record. And
63 or
63, and it's it looks like somebody might have spilled some sort of like, I don't know, mineral sauce or finish remover, because it's in like blobs, like little. It's like clearly an accident, but I kind of love it. Looks like little like freckles. I put a different pickup in there just to kind of darken it a bit. It was already missing that little guy.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's good to go.
All right, I've got a question for you, and I have my own kind of take on this, but a lot of folks who are in the vintage world who are Tele, Strat, Les Pauls, SGs, they're really not sure about what's the appeal to the Firebird. So your words, like, why did you pick this guitar to play for those songs? Like, why not grab a Tele or a Burst?
Well,
or a
it's, like it's the pickups usually, right? So it's the pickup. It's like the pickups that go between the two. It's like we all love Teles, we all love Les Pauls, but the pickups kind of bring it together. They're snappier, they're brighter. I mean, the original.
They're almost like hi-fi.
They're really bright, yeah. Especially if you want to do really super clean chiming stuff. Like you want to, like honestly, the main reason why I was obsessed with these is because I love Alan Collins.
Yeah.
But when I got it, I was like, oh, this is a super chiming guitar. When I was plugging it through like big amps and stuff like that, I had to kind of darken it with a different pickup. But again, that's original, so we can throw it back in there. But it kind of marries the two. The only thing you do have to get used to though is
heavy.
it's headstock heavy. Yeah. So it's like when you got to remember when you're doing the pose and you're doing that, you're like, oh god. But also they're offset.
Yeah.
So you have to it's to me playing these, it's unusual. In a good way. It's almost like a bull, like you're like holding on to it the whole time. Because it's got this, you have to make sure that since it's offset, you're pulling it back. You have to kind of fight it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I was just using it.
Makes it fun. I mean, there's so much. So, I love that take on it because I would totally agree. Another thing I try to tell folks is you really realize like how much that neck deciphers the tone. They're just like big.
They have to be.
It's a huge component.
Chunky.
Yeah, they're chunky.
They're chunky, really big. Also, I mean, I just love this too. You know, it kind of like delves into the straight behind the nut like a Tele or a Strat.
They're not for the faint of heart. You gotta fight them. You know, it's a little bit of a rodeo, like you said.
It's
worth it.
But it's totally worth it. Honestly, I used it. I'm in the process of producing this record on a girl named Kaylee Hammock, and I needed just a chunk guitar to do eighth notes, chunk. And I tried a bunch of stuff, and I was like, man, it needs to be brighter. I was like, oh wait, of course the Firebird. And I'm using what it's intended for, clean and bright.
Yeah.
And
it probably has a percussive kind of
very percussive, but it also cuts through the mix. It sparkles. It's not super honky, and it was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love this.
All right.
It hurts me. It hurts me to get rid of this one.
Okay, it looks like a 47. Wow.
Yeah, so that's
Beautiful.
the first year they did it to the herringbone. So it's this. Yeah.
That neck is just like.
It's chunky. Yeah.
Damn.
He plays it upside down.
This is a really like.
It's in really good shape.
It's beautiful. All the aging is like very even. No.
I know. Arthur's pissed that I'm selling this guitar.
No,
I'm sorry,
dude.
buddy. I know it's his favorite.
I'll find one for you in 10 years.
This is college, bro.
Anything? No, like doesn't it look like it has maybe the typical pick guard crack here, but nothing.
Other than that, it's pretty much straight. I had it refretted.
Cool.
Because most of the stuff I had it refretted.
Neck reset, saddle.
Neck reset. I use everything for the most part, so I have to get them playable. I played that on this record most recently, and it just sounded like $1 million. But it's all good. You know, they don't. I believe they don't have truss rods, right? So they had to, or adjustable truss rods rather. So they have to actually adjust the neck bow by doing the fret job. So this dude in town who's amazing, who works on like Billy Strings' guitars. Is a compound adjusting or something like that?
As far as each fret type of thing?
Each fret, like the tangs have to like pull the neck back. It's just an art, and he knows how to do it. But he's our age, total nerd, loves what he does. You know, the best ones do.
And that's the thing with Martins. Like, if you think you're gonna have a mint Martin out of the case and it's gonna do everything, no, it has to be dialed in. Yeah. It's accepted in that community and really who did it? You know, it has to keep the integrity of the instrument.
Yeah, that's a big part of it because they're, you know, we know we're all obsessed with vintage guitars and especially acoustics because there's a lot that can go wrong when you're fixing these guitars. And it's like, who did the work? That's why when you're buying old stuff, it's good to know like who did the work because, you know, you see it all the time in electric guitars. Like some random knob over here and someone took shellac and they did it.
Yeah.
But it would still, you pick it up, you're like, okay, it's kind of cool though, it works. It's not the same as acoustics. It has
totally
to be
different. Especially
someone that knows what they're doing.
You can lose something when you do a neck reset.
It's shifty. It's dangerous. Yeah, because with all guitars, but most of the acoustic guitars, every little thing counts. You know, so that neck angle, just changing. You know, the height of this is a big one. Because sometimes guitars sound great right when they need a new neck or
right when the speaker's gonna blow.
Yeah, right when the speaker's gonna blow, or the amp goes, or the acoustics done. It's like when it sounds the best. So unfortunately, because you're lifting the strings up, you know, there's more break angle, more tension, changes the tone. But that's why I have to find someone that knows what they're doing to adjust for that. And he knocked it out of the park, and I've been playing it. Again, this is one I don't ever take out. I only use in the studio. But you know, unfortunately, you know, just makes room for more guitars.
Let's go.
It's
Gibson. Wow, jumbo.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I love the sunburst sides or like tobacco burst or whatever. Like what an unnecessary detail, but it's like cool.
It looks like a lap steel finish. That makes
it totally does. I mean, it's barks, it's loud.
What strings do you have on these? They look a little different.
They're just like the steel. It's actually what came on it, but they're a little darker.
Crazy.
Which I do like. You know, so bright acoustics are fine. Like you want a bright sets on like Martins.
Gibsons though.
You want it to be nice, warm. You want it to sound 1,000,000 years old. For some reason, I only want to play and see in this guitar. And it was, that one's tough. I love old school, the sunbursts when they're really small. I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah, let me smell that.
Smell this hole. Also, I mean, it never got better. I mean, I love Gibson. I love all ears of Gibson, but the logo never got better than that.
I know.
It never got better. That is the best Gibson logo.
Cool V-neck, but not like... I mean, it's a chunky neck, but it's chunky
V-neck. And that song "Younger Me" that we that we wrote a few years ago, won a Grammy on. That's the guitar that I co-wrote that song on, and I probably played it on the record on that too. So that song's got 100 million songs left in it. I mean, it's awesome.
Well, if I get home and you go, what the hell did I do? I'll send any of these back.
No. I'm gonna look forward.
I bet this one might stay in the family.
I know it hurts, that one. This one is, again, I've used pretty much. I'm only in the studio. I do have like other jumbo-y guitars, and this one has actually because it's been so cold and dry here. It needs a little bit of a setup because I played it the other day and the strings are super low and buzzy and jangly, so it's not as punchy as it usually is, but it's great for that kind of thing.
It's so funny, man. Like, you know, they're called the silent giants because they look like they're gonna be like,
they're gonna be huge,
but it's like
It's way
all
le-
string noise, and
it's
they're
all string
kind of
noise.
supposed to. They
Yeah.
record like that. It's cool.
Yeah,
they're
it's
perfect,
jangle. It's
but that's
all
kind of
jangle.
what they're supposed to be. Like.
But this does need to be just kind of a little bit of adjusted because it's so dry, so cold here. I think it's 52.
52?
I'm so bad at remembering the exact years.
Yeah.
I'm like just terrible. But 52, all straight, all original. I love the wear on the nut or on the neck back right there. You tell people have been playing.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
It's just they've been jamming in G, dude,
cool.
for like 50 years.
Yeah, stinger head.
That's where all the money is, though. I tell new guitar players, it's the further this way you go, the less money you start making.
Clean, man. So 59.
59.
Yeah.
My thing is like I might just hang on to
Yeah.
it.
Keep that guitar. Yeah. Cool.
I feel like I dodged a bullet,
No,
as if like I had no choice in the matter. It was like literally when I put this case down yesterday, I was like, my hand wouldn't go with it.
Oh, dude.
All right.
It looks good on you.
You're
too,
lucky.
man.
You're staying here. And plus, you know when you pick it up and play it without an amplifier, and you're like, yeah, it's good. Like you know, a 335 is good.
You need
before.
PAFs on you, dude. Like,
I know,
so,
I
yeah,
know.
keep that guitar. It's a good one.
This is badass, dude. Woo! Not even plugged in. It don't need no amplifier. And now this. This was when I went through like my phase of like I'm just gonna buy like trashed guitars and get them fixed up. And I've wanted an ebony block for so long.
They're so cool, man.
Because they're so badass
I know.
and like they're just amazing looking. But when I got it, it's headstock brake, heel brake. There's like a dowel rod fix here, and then I mean it was trash. And then
Dude,
they,
it's a player's grade ebony block. Like that is so
and you
awesome.
can see, I don't know if you probably won't be able to see it very well, but you can see two plugged ebony holes here. I guess because sometimes they slide out if you don't adjust the little wires. And a guy just took drywall screws and we're like, kink.
I love it.
It's awesome, but everything's original on it.
You can't really go wrong if you put nicks in. It's already had a couple things, you know. And these are very typical. Heel break on an SG.
Like a heel break is something you see all the time, but it's rarely you find a heel and a headstock. What'd you do to that
Well,
thing?
I know it's got
And,
a story, man. Somebody was rocking the piss out of this thing.
Yeah, man, and I had it all put together, and I don't know if they're PAFs, but they sound exactly like PAFs to me.
There's, I mean,
You know, all the early patent
Same
stickers,
thing.
man, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have a sticker on it. They
Yeah,
sound
I find
exactly
that.
like PAFs to me.
very cool.
But yeah, there's that, you know, player grade stuff.
Love
And then
All right,
last but not least,
dude.
I know. I'll never forget it. It was magic. It was magic. Like I could tell on stage. I'm not saying I was playing good at all, but I had fun playing this guitar. I was like immediately felt so drawn to it, and I just like, you know, when you want to buy like this era of guitar. For me, it's like, yeah, it's an investment, and everyone wants to get it, but it's got to be right. It's got to kind of fit you. And man, the second I played it, it was like I did not want to put it down.
So
awesome. And unfortunately,
All right.
all good things must end.
Ladies and gentlemen, Le Freak.
I know.
Look at that thing. So it's been in the Burst Believers book like once or twice. Highly published, highly documented guitar that's had some, you know, it's been refinished to have a 59 finish, which is awesome rather than like that kind of more traditional, some people call it clown burst or tomato soup. It's got the coolest freaking top on it.
Yeah,
Really
it's got a
awesome.
great top.
Mellowed out kind of honey burst.
Yeah, I love the honey burst.
Me too,
thing.
man. I mean,
it's my favorite version.
Yeah.
Of a finish.
When I played this originally in Palm Springs, it like freaked me out. 60s are so vicious and aggressive.
Yeah.
Little thinner neck, they're just like, rah, you know, and it had it all going on. So, got it in Seattle.
Some ways, I prefer like a 59 neck. It's nice and comfy. Everyone knows it. But something about a 60, and that is not a thin 60 neck.
No, it's not. It's like
there's not a blade neck.
No.
But it's thinner. And to me, because of it being a Les Paul, it actually does brighten them up a little bit. In a good way.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 59s, you get the whole spectrum, and that's great. But it's like there are times you're like, damn, this is a big bassy guitar. Yeah, it's beefy.
58s are just like amazing, but holy moly.
I know, it's like an arch top. It's like a
Yeah.
175 kind. It still has this big. So 60s are just like approachable, dude, and they rip.
Yeah, and they're friendly. And you know what's funny? I've had so many people ask me about this, you know, because I love top wraps because it kind of fixes the tension issue, especially going from like Tele's to Les Pauls or whatever. But I kept, because, you know, by the end of the show, I'm just like, I'm playing, I'm just like, I'm doing the thing, and I'm always hitting
Sliding
the lower
down.
E off. And I'm like having all these people reach out to me. So like, what does it do tonally to like put this under there? And I'm like, I don't know.
Awesome.
I wish I had like, I've realized that at about 8K it pulls it down about 2 decibels. And I don't fucking know, man. Honestly, that's just because I kept hitting it off the thing. And my tech was like, we need to do something about that. But I do prefer top wraps. Again, it's easier transitioning from like a Tele to this, and it's not super tight. It's been refretted with some like taller frets, so it plays like a.
I really
dude.
dig those frets.
Yeah, it plays great. I mean, it's a tough one, but we all gotta. I'm onward and upward, man.
You're letting the bird go.
I know,
Yeah.
and it was definitely. This is
It might
definitely
fly back.
one of the best, if not the best guitar I've ever owned and possibly ever played. But it'll live. It's funny, the verse world, man. It's because like you know more than anybody. You see the guitars kind of travel around.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of stay in our world.
They have their own ecosystem, and it's so cool, dude. I mean, I love getting guitars that are familiar to me, and I get it, but John put like this like serious miles. I mean, award shows, massive festivals, the biggest shows, studio, covers of magazines, and I mean, you know,
and so much on this guitar. I mean, the fact that it was, you know, technically a player's grade, I'm like, I'm taking this out.
Yeah.
Initially, I was like a little hesitant, and Trevor saw some pictures on Instagram. He's like, why aren't you playing the verse? I'm like, I don't know, I'm a little worried. He goes, man, play that fucking thing. So I'm like, well, if he says it's okay, then it's okay.
And then I see you swinging this. I'm like, no, maybe I was wrong. Like, so I'm watching you. I just got done texting. I'm like, oh my fucking God, what did I just tell John? Song's over. I'm like,
Yeah, it's funny. I have done it. With this Tele, you could take off, just throw it across stage, and you'll pick it up. It'll probably still be in tune. And I do have a fewer newer Gibsons that I am really rough with, and I'll just kind of like take it and like I'll drop it, and the headstock breaks, whatever, we'll figure it out. But when I did that, I was like, ooh, struck real nice and lightly. To give the illusion that I don't care, but like I overly care.
Totally.
You know? And like at one point I have like another 335 where I did it, and I was like, sometimes I'll put it on the ground and I'll like put it down and just like strum it. But instead of like throwing it on the ground, I was like this. I was like, so we try to give the illusion that we're cooler than we are, but most people don't fall for it. And then after that, I had it everywhere. I mean, it just didn't leave my side until today.
hey, well, we're gonna make lemonade out of the whole situation, and you're keeping one, which is awesome. I was like,
I am.
When you sent me this list, I'm like, we'll see how many make it in the boxes. But that's the 345 PAFs 59 is scratch a little box, and almost on paper has a little bit more, especially studio stuff. Maybe.
And the studio is great.
Like,
it's super clean, and it's again, if I sold both of these, I will have 0 PAFs in my life. I've got a couple guitars that have early patent stickers, but you gotta have this. You gotta have this.
Yeah.
You gotta have the patent applied for. So, but this is it, man.
All right.
I feel good about these.
You like really nice and convenient. Get our bubble wrap, our tape guns, boxes, razor, all delivered here, which saves a lot of hassle. Let's start with kind of the Strats, Teles, and whatnot. Go from there. All right, we just stole John's car. First, we gotta go drop all this stuff off at UPS. I have printed, insured labels, expedited shipping, so all the really, valuable vintage stuff will be there nice and quick, probably by the time that we get home. And we're flying with that burst. Some expensive guitars, hitting the postal service, but helpful staff, everything's all dialed, safe, insured. It'll get there quick, so I'm feeling okay about it. We're gonna go pick up our scraps from John's place, a bunch of bubble wrap. It looks like a shipping center just exploded over there. So we're gonna leave our campsite better than when we came and go check out the recording studio that John just took over.
So this is where all that money's going to. This place right here. I call it Pine Box. We're supposed to name shit, but this is my studio. Come check it out. Yeah, I went full out with it. I found this place because I was literally leaving my house one day, and it's a cul-de-sac at the end. I was driving out and I saw a U-Haul out front, and I was like, I need that. I want that place so bad. Obviously, I put all my stuff in here, but it was already like this. Most importantly, it is like so close to my house, I have to pass it on the way home. And I just thought to myself, I was looking for a place somewhere in East Nashville. If it was like a mile away, I just wouldn't go there. I'm so busy, and when putting it together, it was like, okay, I'm on my way home, I'll pop in for 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. Just work, set stuff up, wire stuff. It is so much fun. I mean, I slept on JCM 800s for the longest time. I always thought it was butt rock amps.
The master volume ones are the shit.
Yeah, and
is it 50 or 100 watts?
It's 50 watts.
It's the best. It's
and
one
I
of the
was
best
like,
amps ever.
I just thought it was like, I don't know, I had the stigma against it. Like I saw certain people use it, and I was like, it's not really my style. And then when we did our record with Mike Elizondo, it was like a Strat through a TS 808 and a JCM 800. I was like, this is like the best sound ever. This is why everyone does that. A couple slots are missing because, you guys done boxed them up and moved them away.
So bedroom up there for
So the bedroom up there, which there's nothing there right now. But it's all kind of wide open. I've got everything mic'd and ready to go. I've got your kind of just like, that, kind of upright kind of thing, but then like the clean, like that thing. And this is full synths all running to here. So when you get everything running and you open up a session of Pro Tools, it's not like, okay, let's wire this, wire this. So everything is ready to go from the downbeat. And then in here,
this is so dope, dude.
I know. Yeah. And also it's got
so clean.
All of this is hooked up through there.
God.
You just like fire it up, it's ready to go. B3 cabs downstairs.
This is
so you turn it on, it's
what
ready to go.
I dreamed of.
Same.
Everything hooked up, every keyboard, the workflow. It feels spacious in here. Like it's not a claustrophobic.
Yeah, this was at one point. These were all windows, so I had them taken out because you could hear everything outside.
This is such cool.
And that wall, it was just kind of like it was making some weird slappy stuff. So I just put a bunch of carpet on there and to deaden it, and it's pretty dead. It's really dead, but the deader you get it, the punchier you can get everything. And then, and I've got these. I haven't finished the walls yet, but I can actually open the curtains up, pull the curtains open, and the walls will liven it up a little bit more. But dead punchy drums is the shit. You can make them bigger. It took a good year to do it. But I knew in my mind, I was like, when I have everything up and running, I want to make sure I want to have it airtight. So when we do the first session, I will work out whatever bugs are left, and by the end of that session, which was this record I'm almost done with, the bugs are pretty much worked out. The kind of final frontier, though, is this room, which I haven't finished decorating. What we've been working in here is like, so this is where like, it's still not 100% dead. We should treat it and darken it or whatever, but it's fine. It's not bright. And we'll do any type of ISO stuff, usually acoustic guitars in here.
Were you classically trained on upright bass?
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Yeah. So do you do a lot of bass? Do you
not anymore.
No, not at all?
I have an upright here.
I saw that. That's like
for if I want to like do an overdub or if there's a musician here so they can play it.
So when did you start learning?
When I was like 11 or something like that, 12.
Yeah.
Well, I went to college playing upright. I got a scholarship and I did the whole thing. I just didn't love it. Yeah, I couldn't. Guitar for me and for most of us is such a tool to express yourself. Yeah. And playing that kind of music, it wasn't expressive. It was like, here's the paper. Yeah. Let's bring this thing to life, and it's really cool. Like you're in a band of like 50 to 70 people. It's an amazing thing, but I'm like, but I'm gonna play a different note right here. No, you can't play a different note. You gotta play that note. Just never loved it. And then when I play guitar, I can't read music on guitar at all.
Really? So I was gonna ask if that like translated.
Yeah, I couldn't. I can't with playing upright like jazz or anything. I couldn't. It's like I couldn't improvise jazz stuff on bass. I could only read it. And it's backwards. On guitar, I could improvise, but I can't read. I don't know, man. It's just where my heart's at. Just my brain.
So glad that we stopped here.
But yeah, that's the long. So this is where it's all going. But honestly, no one needs all this shit to just in a room and record. It's just upkeep. Analog breaks a lot. It all breaks. Wow. But it's worth it when it's working.
Just end of the day, coming by John's studio, which is like my absolute life dream. I mean, this visually even, you walk in here and it's just like, holy shit. So cool, but very, very thoughtful studio that he's gonna be busy as hell. And so, yeah, man, awesome day. Gonna drop us off to the hotel and I don't know what we're doing. Staying away from Broadway. Let's get this baby home.